And we're going to do the same thing in tokenization. So tokenization, blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while, but now it's becoming more effective, more efficient because people are finding ways to do it faster and cheaper, permissioned or not permissioned. Smart contracts, I think, will probably be real. We're working on stable coin and a JP Morgan. We have a JP Morgan deposit already. And think of it as a token, which is a deposit. We can pay interest on it. And as a payment system and a network, we're involved. If we can use things like that to do something better, faster, cheaper for clients, we're going to.
Today, we are living in historical phase in which future of the world economy are changing at unprecedented speed. Bitcoin is no longer just a digital asset, but has become a key pillar in the future of financing. And with it comes the rule of mining.
So every boat we knock out of the water, every boat, we save 25,000 American lives. That was a boat loaded up with drugs. I saw the video. They were trying to turn the boat back to where it could float. And we didn't want to see that because that boat was loaded up with drugs just like everything else. But every boat we shoot down, and I don't know if you know, we're 92 or 94% down in drugs coming in by the sea. And we're trying to find who are the 6%. Because I don't know, people aren't liking to drive boats right now loaded up with drugs. But every single, think of that, every single boat we shoot out, on average, we save 25,000 American lives. Do you feel okay about that, Cord?
Keep us safe.
Okay, I know my men. What about you, Bill? Are you okay with that?
I'm totally fine with that.
Then we go to Japan and Korea. They offer us $750 billion in cash to build in America at the president's direction. And we're going to start as an example, nuclear, right? We need to have a nuclear arsenal in America of power, the generation of power. So we're going to build hundreds of billions of dollars financed by the Japanese and the Koreans, meaning they give us the money, we build it here, and we split the cash flow 50-50. We're going to build ships, $150 billion worth of ships in America that changes the way things work, right?
Meta has sold millions of its AI glasses worldwide, but the Chinese have caught on. More than 70 Chinese companies are creating competitors. And in the race with the U.S. in AI, China's expertise in hardware could be an advantage.
The advantage comes from the fundamental root that China is a nation of manufacturing. Today, the competition is on the software, the models, the agents, the applications. But soon, it will move to devices.
And real-time translation is popular.
Hi, I just arrived in China. Do you have any recommendations for restaurants?
欢迎来到北京。第一天第一顿餐的话，推荐您去吃北京的烤鸭。
Eyewear from companies like Inmo and Rokid sell overseas. Xiaomi and Alibaba's are found only in China, embedded with the tech giant's own AI. This credit card-sized AI device is meant for the workplace. From as far as 26 feet away, a large boardroom. I'm a CNBC reporter, and I have a lot of questions. The Alibaba DingTalk A1 can record, transcribe, summarize, and analyze a meeting.
When you still hear people outside China talking about what the future of an AI device might be, the market is full of AI devices here already. This creates this kind of feedback loop again to make the AIs even better.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And now we have JP Morgan becoming a spokesperson for tokenization. Now, we know all of them used to talk about the power of blockchain, but now it's tokenization. And we know everything is going to be tokenized, put on blockchain, and money is going to be moved at the speed of light on digital asset technology. And we know he knew it from the beginning. Don't forget the banks funded Bitcoin and crypto from the beginning. And Bitcoin was that perfect narrative to bring in the fourth industrial revolution. 2008 up to 2023, it was Bitcoin was supposed to get rid of the banks. And then all of a sudden, the banks come from behind the curtain. and they're taking over crypto. The reason why? Again, because they've been here from the beginning. It was genius, but evil genius. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we know the Middle East is leading this fourth industrial revolution. When you talk about the metaverse, and we don't even get to see it, they're light years ahead. They have robots that actually look like humans. And we see it online all the time. Remember, the United States is behind on purpose. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And again, Trump lets you know the game is over. With all the surveillance that's coming, crime is about to change. And that's going cyber also. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Never forget, the banks are the biggest what? I'll let you finish that. And now they're finished with the game. And we have Lucknick talking about energy from Japan and Korea. Says they're offering $750 billion in cash. If you believe that, something is definitely wrong with you. But energy is definitely the new currency. And why is that? That's right, because of the machines. In 2026 and 2029, they're going to unleash the machines on humanity. And it's going to be man versus machine. And that's the reason why it's going to be so important for you to get back with the Creator, so therefore you can start creating. Because you do not want to fall on the wrong side of history. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And the way we use cell phones are about to change. We know that hologram is coming soon. And right now they're pushing glasses. Guys, do not forget. The eyes and ears are the window to the soul. You have your earbuds, you have your glasses, because they want to change your reality. And if you're younger, it's easy for you to use the technology, but you cannot fall for the devil's tricks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And you know I talk about Japan all the time. And eventually they're going to have to start raising rates, and we know they own a whole lot of our debt. And as we lower rates, a whole lot of that money is coming out those money market accounts. You're talking about $8 trillion, and it's going to seek yield. But we know Warren Buffett has been over in Japan buying up their treasuries. And a lot of our big banks and big corporations are buying up in the emerging markets. We have gold and silver at all-time highs because we know the central banks are getting prepared for the fall of the dollar. And so should you. Remember, Trump has to devalue this dollar in order to devalue the debt and get us put on a level playing field. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And since we had the drama from the government shutdown, we get more delays on data. And remember, guys, nothing happens by coincidence. It is all planned, because we know this data is getting worse and worse, and instead of cutting 25 basis points, you should be cutting 50. The Fed now has lost control, and that is done on purpose. Of course, when it comes to the banks and these big corporations, they have access to cheap money, but we know the people don't. And with all these layoffs coming and the machines coming in, that means humanity is coming out of the workforce. That means they own nothing, but they will be happy. And then the machines are going to take over. And these corporations are going to flourish with more productivity. Because these robots don't need a break. They don't call out. They don't need insurance. And they work 24/7. And they definitely don't talk back. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
All right, Gilbert, we don't talk about Japanese bond yields a lot. As we mentioned earlier in this show, in multi-year highs dating all the way back to mid-2000s. Why are these yields important so right now?
Well, there's a couple of quick things. I think it's important to recognize that the outlier really is a 30-year bond. Because if you look, things like the 10 to 30-year spread there in Japan is essentially twice the normal spread over the last 25 years. Instead of it being roughly 85, it's now almost 160. So really all the action over there is really happening in the 30-year. And I think what's also important is to recognize that they've gone through a period of yield curve controls, keeping rates artificially too low, and really going through a period of deflation. And I think that's all now coming to roost. And you can see that deflation, Frank, if you look at their stock market, it has been over the last 25 years a return of essentially zero or maybe 1%. Compared to our market, which is about 10% annualized.
What is if the yields rise, that money's going to go from the U.S. back to Japan? Now, is that why this is important, or is there some other facet that you're looking at?
Well, I think what's really interesting is we kind of have the other side. In other words, I believe just like we had the bond vigilantes back in the early 80s and in the essentially the 90s, I believe it's the bond samurai. And what they're doing is they're trying to say to their government, we cannot afford right now with our high GDP to debt to GDP ratio, we cannot afford significant stimulus. We need to slow down the quantitative tightening, and we need to go back to adjust the issuance where before they were issuing more on the short end, now they're issuing more on the long end. I think the bond samurais are telling them what they need to be doing, and I believe if they don't listen, rates are going to go even higher. And I believe what that would do is lead to a slowdown of their economy, a significant one, which will ultimately flow back into a slowdown here in the U.S. So that's really the impact. I think it could be to a real detriment to their economy and a slowdown, which would flow back here into the U.S.
The Fed cuts rates to begin with, and how the Fed is the central bank. And, you know, when they cut rates, they do so to lower the cost of funding to the banking system, because the banking system isn't lending. And the Fed hopes that by cutting rates, lending will pick up, and they hope in turn that that pickup in lending will stimulate the economy. So the question we should all be asking right now is, where's the hiccup in the financial sector that is stymieing lending, which in turn is stymieing growth?
But is
and I think it'd be very hard-pressed to find that right now.
Are high rates themselves the stymie? You know, I've heard others, I think if I'm saying correctly, Barry Knapp's case on this is that they should have cut much more a long time ago, and that's why we're resulting in this K-shaped economy where money is too expensive kind of for the broad consumers out there, broad lending, and it's really only because of the strong stock market that people have done well.
Well, Kelly, look, if the K-shaped economy is a reality, and I get that, and I'm not being cold at all. Please don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. But lower rates will not encourage lending to riskier entities if rates come down. If their cost of funding comes down, they will keep lending rates the same to entities that are riskier. To automatically assume that rates throughout the economy will come down, that just doesn't make any sense. We already have credit spreads about the most narrow in my career. How much more narrow are they going to get? So that's an issue for the fiscal side more than the monetary side, which of course nobody wants to talk about these days because of the deficit and everything else. But realistically, the Fed is very limited in what they can actually do. And the question, look, even today, your big story today is about a big merger. Are those entities having any trouble getting financing for this merger?
Right, but
No.
that's exactly the point, is that, you know, big business, those who are using corporate bond markets, they're all doing, they have cheaper capital, that's fine. But what about those who are relying, you know, people say, look at the people falling behind on car loans or the cost of car loans. Obviously, the mortgage is the big one hanging out there. So in that sense, I think you and I would agree that the goal is to bring those rates down. But it seems like rate cuts right now, I don't know why the bond market is kind of puking this week to, sorry for the
Breaking inflation data from the government, not about the levels, but about the release of data. We just learned from the BLS that the October and November PPI or wholesale inflation reports will now be delayed until January 14th and released with the December data when it comes out. This is longer than many expected the BLS to take to catch up. The November PPI was originally scheduled for December 11th. New dates for the October and November PCE are still not determined. By the way, the importance of this, why are we talking about PPI? It's a big component of the PCE inflation indicator, which is the Fed's preferred indicator. We have alternate data on jobs. We don't have very good alternate data when it comes to inflation, so the official data is very important. Therefore, I can announce over the the PA system that the flying blind section of this monetary policy making cycle will continue longer than expected.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.